happy Monday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by See-Through Group, American Law Group, American Contractors Show, as well as Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. We do have a marginally severe chance to see some hail out in Arizona today, so we'll talk about that. And then the remnants of Ian is producing some rain in the northeast, and we could see some decent values for precipitation for parts of the northeast, so we'll talk about that as well. And then lastly, we will jump into the tropics to see if there are any more systems that are worth watching over the next few days. So here are yesterday's storm reports. For the most part, we're pretty quiet. These were all sub-severe hail reports. We did have some severe hail happen in southern Utah yesterday, as well as a few wind reports and a few sub-severe hail reports in Colorado, as well as down into Arizona. Let's just zoom on in here again. The only severe activity was here in Utah yesterday. Everything else that you see here was sub-severe in nature. So here are our current conditions across the lower 48. This is a low pressure system that used to be Hurricane Ian, just spinning off the eastern coast here, bringing in a moisture from the Atlantic and producing some heavier rain. So we're going to zoom on in here first. Again, plenty of precipitation coming on in off of the Atlantic. So New York City down to Washington, D.C. You guys are experiencing some anywhere from light rain to moderate rain right now. And this will slowly start to track off to the north as we get into the next few days. And then we have another low pressure here in the northern plains, not really doing a whole lot besides producing some moderate to heavy rain in some spots as well. No severe weather is anticipated with that. But as we go down into Arizona, you can already see a few storms trying to fire up here in northwestern Arizona. We got to watch this area this afternoon and evening for the potential of severe weather there. So zooming back out, you can definitely tell that fall is officially here. It's not just on the calendar. Mother Nature is like, okay, let's get some cooler weather in here. Temperatures are pretty pleasant across much of the U.S. It's 68 in Minneapolis. We got 62 in Fort Wayne. Not even 80 yet in Dallas. It's only 79 down there, 82 in Houston. So pretty pleasant across most of the U.S. Really the only toasty spot right now is down in Miami where it's 87 degrees. And then with our dew points, we are also very comfortable. Really no sticky areas. The closest really to that uncomfortable condition is again in Miami with a dew point of 62. Elsewhere, the dew points are relatively low, so pretty comfortable again across the United States. So we saw the remnants of Ian continuing to slowly move off to the north, and over the next few days, we're going to see some heavier precipitation totals here. So this is from now until tomorrow at, until 5 p.m. You can see New York City will see about 2.71 inches of rain, and then closing in on 2 inches in Philadelphia and Dover, and near 1 inch in Baltimore. And then getting into Wednesday, those totals will start to increase and move off to the northeast as well. New York City by Wednesday, you can see a little over 3 inches of rain. Boston, almost 1.5 inches from Tuesday to Wednesday, and then getting into late Wednesday into Thursday morning, we should start to see some improvements as those totals really don't go up, indicating that Ian will finally move off to sea. So in terms of severe weather, we do have a risk today in Arizona. These are our forecast instability. So our CAPE values, there is some instability. It's not very impressive, but there is some here in central Arizona. As we get into later on in the evening, you can see still some values here. So there'll still be some instability for the potential of a storm or two to become severe, and then we get into the overnight hours and we start to lose that instability as the sun is down. And so, yeah, the storms that do potentially become severe will be this afternoon and evening, and then we should start to become a bit more quiet as we get into the overnight hours. So here is our future radar. Again, a few storms are already trying to pop up, and that will continue to do so as we get into the next few hours. So Flagstaff, be on the lookout for a storm or two to reach severe limits, and we could see some marginally severe hail there. And then some heavier rain will develop and move off to the southeast as we get into the late evening and into the overnight hours. And that rain will move into New Mexico. And yeah, as we get into daybreak, you can see that heavier rain will start to dissipate a bit as well. So here is today's hail forecast. Again, a very small area in central and northern Arizona. Flagstaff, you're really the only populated area for this hail risk, so low chance to see anywhere from quarter to maybe $half size hail here again this afternoon and evening. So let's take a look at our future jet stream. This is the trough that's associated with the remnants of Ian. We have some cooler weather as well as that rain occurring in the northeast, and we also have that trough in the northern plains. As we get into the next few days, you can see the trough in the east will start to move very slowly off into the Atlantic. Same deal with the one in the northern plains, and then this one will, as it continues to go to the southeast on a Wednesday, it will start to dig a bit and give us some more cool air here in the Great Lakes region as well as into the northeast, and it's going to deepen even more as we get into Friday. So, I mean, unfortunately, we're getting into a quiet pattern, and that's why we have that cold air starting to come in from our neighbors up in Canada. So just taking a look at the temperature outlook, you can see from now through about the 12th, it's going to be the potentially pretty good chance that we'll be below average for the eastern part of the U.S. And then from the central to western part will be most likely warmer than average. And unfortunately for the precipitation, we're going to remain pretty dry getting into the next week and a half or so, except for down in the desert southwest where we're potentially going to see wetter than normal conditions there, which is unfortunate because looking at our current drought conditions across the U.S., we need rain here in the central plains, down into the southern plains as well as into the west, and we're just not going to get a whole lot of it in those areas that need it the most. So yeah, that's again very unfortunate. And so we're going to take a look at a few cities before we get into the tropics. This is here in Oklahoma City. It's going to be very nice over the next few days. Temperatures will be in the mid 80s, and then we'll get a bit of a cool down on Friday, down into the low to almost mid 70s for our Friday. No chance of rain though through the rest of the week. So if you guys are working here in the Oklahoma City area, you guys should not have any issues with the weather here. Same deal in Dallas, Fort Worth. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures will be up in the mid to even upper 80s on Thursday, and will be dry there as well. But as we go out into Denver, we do have a chance of some rain and some storms today, with only temperatures getting up into lower 70s. And then the rest of the week looks pretty good, just a low end chance of a shower as we go through the rest of the week. Temperatures will be pleasant though. So if you guys are in Denver, for the most part, you guys should be good there as well. Now let's check into the tropics. We do have a few areas that we are watching. There are two of them actually. The first one is once again in parts of the Caribbean. We have a 30% chance that this will develop into something over the next 2 days, but then in the next 5 days has a 40% chance of developing So this is the first area that we're watching. The second area is a wave off of the western coast of Africa, has a higher chance to develop than the other one. We have a 50% chance of development over the next 2 days, and then a 70% chance over the next 5 days. So a decent chance that these could develop into some tropical systems. So we'll be watching these very carefully, because you never know what these storms will do in terms of where they're going to go. Although, as of right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be any effect on the U.S. So if either of these do become a named storm, the next one on the list is Julia, and then we have Carl with a K after that. And here are the rest of the names going through the alphabet for those Atlantic storms. Again, we are in October. You may think, oh, we're not going to see a whole lot of activity now that we're in October. Well, we do still see, hurricanes and all that in the month of October. We've had some named systems like Hurricane Michael that's happened in October, as well as some other ones as well. So the season's not over yet. We can still see those storms develop over the next month or two. And once we get into November and to December, that's when it really starts to drop off. So it's not over yet, you guys, as we also saw in the tropics. We have a few systems to at least kind of, keep an eye on, because you never know where they'll go. So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as our TikTok page, where we've been trying to create some fun content for you guys. And if you have any questions, concerns, if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hilltrace.com and check out our website at www.hilltrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday.